The marriage contract was about to expire when I found out I was pregnant. For 1 full year, Ethan Blackwood and I had guarded that line with almost professional precision. We were partners in an arranged marriage, not lovers with a future. In a few days, the contract would end, the Reed family would be saved, and we would go back to being strangers. The test-to-pest report trembled in my bag all the way home. Ethan was in the kitchen, carrying out steak like nothing in the world could disturb him. He hated servants in the house, so every meal after our wedding had been made by his own hands.
Wash your hands. Eat.
Dinner was quiet until he looked up.
Bad mood?
I shook my head. He kept guessing, each question colder and more careful than the last, until I finally mentioned the contract. That arranged marriage contract of ours is about to expire, right?
Yes.
I forced myself to continue, saying we should part cleanly and that I owed him too much already. Then I placed the report in front of him and waited for judgment. It is definitely your child. I did not plan this. I can deal with it, and we can still separate properly. After a silence so long I thought anger had killed him, Ethan stopped me.
Give birth to the child.
He said he needed a child to answer his parents. Then, in that flat, brutal voice, he added the condition.
Give birth to a son, and we are even.
What if it is a daughter?
Then we keep trying until you give me a son.
I should have been angry. Instead, the first thing I felt was a quiet, ridiculous ache. Ethan had reduced me and the baby to 1 sentence of calculation, and it still hurt. Our marriage had started as a business arrangement. Ethan needed a wife to satisfy the Blackwood elders. I needed his money and power to pull Reed Group back from collapse. We agreed to 1 year. Then he calmly said he did not intend to have a sex marriage, and I looked at his face, his height, his restrained, dangerous elegance, and decided the condition was acceptable. That was my first mistake. The second was falling for him. Ethan was nearly perfect as a husband, handsome, wealthy, generous, meticulous, silent to the point of infuriating. Even after the roughest nights, he would massage my sore waist with patient hands. I used to joke with myself that even a black card or a cold machine could become addictive if used long enough, but deep down I knew better. I was sinking, and he watched from the shore. I later learned why he had become this icy version of himself. Before studying Grad, Ethan had been open, sociable, brilliant. After returning, he was quiet enough to scare his parents into sending him to therapy. His friend Zach finally revealed the truth. Ethan had once loved a girl overseas, prepared a confession, and broken so badly that he sealed his heart, studied finance, practiced cooking, learned sewing, and even trained himself to ease muscle pain. I remembered asking around about that girl and realizing we had attended the same university. I had been too busy obsessing over fandom novels to notice anyone. So the woman he truly loved became a ghost I could never defeat. That night, I lay beside Ethan while the words about a son circled in my head. Maybe women were the only ones foolish enough to grow attached through intimacy. Maybe to Ethan I was simply a convenient partner and now a convenient womb. He came out of the shower half-dressed and noticed I was still awake.
Something else?
I said the hospital line had been long and my waist hurt. He paused, then crossed the room.
Why did you not go to Blackwood Medical?
I thought it was only stomach trouble.
Lie down.
His palm settled over my sore muscles. The gesture was familiar, but now it felt like a kindness borrowed from another woman, a habit trained by old love and passed on to me by accident. Then I remembered the messages that had crossed his phone while he showered. Zach had written that Vivian Lane was to the country and Ethan about whether his heart racing. Ethan read the messages, then tossed the phone away without replying. The next morning, he took me to Blackwood Medical for another checkup. Before lunch, the reports came back. In the car, I saw him frowning at the paper like he could read every medical line into prophecy. You aren't a doctor. Can you even understand that? He stiffened. Then his phone rang.
Today's flight? All right, I know.
He hung up and told the driver to go to the
Airport for Miss Lane.
My stomach tightened. Vivian was not a rumor anymore. She was here, and Ethan's month of late nights suddenly had a name. For the first time, I wanted to call Ethan and ask where he was. But what right did I have? I was the contract wife, the woman who would leave once the terms were fulfilled. So I stayed awake until dawn, slept badly, and went alone to my scheduled prenatal checkup. I had just taken a photo of the report for Chloe when Ethan appeared in the hospital corridor, breath uneven, as if he had run all the way there. I almost smiled. "Ethan, can you please be considerate of a lady?" The little joy in my chest froze.
Did we not agree you would call me and let me come with you?
"Hello, Miss Reed. I am Vivian Lane, Ethan's friend." I nodded and left, too tired to ask why they had arrived together. That evening, Ethan came home early. I was eating apple slices on the sofa when I gave him my answer. "Ethan, I agree to what you said. If the baby was a son, we would separate it after birth and never meet again. If it was a daughter," I said lightly, "we could simply have another child." His face changed, but he only answered after a long silence.
Fine.
I moved into the guest room that night. Half asleep and thirsty, I passed the attic and saw light under the door. Inside, Ethan knelt before a small chapel shrine, back straight, expression terrifyingly devout.
Merciful God, please give me a daughter. If you grant my wish, I will rebuild this chapel and restore every statue in gold.
I stood frozen at the attic door with one hand on my stomach. Had Ethan gotten the script wrong? We had clearly agreed on a son. Yet the man who had coldly demanded an heir was now begging heaven for a daughter. A dangerous thought cracked open inside me. Maybe Ethan Blackberg, that silent stone of a man, cared more than he admitted. He heard me and turned. Before fear could silence me, I blurted out the worst possible question. "Ethan, are you secretly in love with me?" The moment I said it, I wanted to disappear. Ethan looked at me with a strange expression. I was joking. He rose, dusted his knees, and walked close enough for me to smell cedar on his skin.
What do you think?
"I think it is not very likely." He only touched my head.
Go to sleep. Stop overthinking.
I ran back to the guest room and messaged Chloe, confessing that Ethan might like me. Her reply came late and merciless. "You only noticed now?" She said the whole company knew Ethan treated me differently, cooking breakfast, letting me max out his cards, abandoning meetings to rush to the hospital. When I asked about Vivian, Chloe told me to ask Zach. So I did. Zach laughed through a voice message, then finally corrected the misunderstanding. Vivian was not the girl Ethan had loved abroad. She was a childhood friend whose family had tried to match them, and Ethan had refused for years. When I asked who the real girl was, Zach fell silent and told me to ask Ethan himself. "Ethan told me to ask you, who is she?" The white moonlight had no face yet, but for the first time I wondered if it might mine. The next morning, hunger dragged me out of bed. Ethan was in the kitchen, frying eggs with a steadiness that made domestic life look like surgery.
Awake?
I nodded. Breakfast was already waiting. Toast, eggs, milk, fruit, all made in small portions because pregnancy had ruined my appetite. The silence between us was awkward, until I finally asked about the attic. "Do you really want a daughter?" He asked why I was asking, and I told him I had seen him praying. He tried to call it an accident. "But you clearly said you wanted a son."
I said it casually.
"So, which is it?" When I pushed him to choose, he looked at me with an intensity that made my fingers slip on the fork.
Either is fine, as long as you give birth to it.
The sentence hit me harder than any confession. In the car to the hospital, I caught him searching pregnancy precautions and saving baby products like a man preparing for battle. He held my hand through the maternity ward while nurses whispered that Mr. Blackwood had become sweet. After the checkup, I finally asked the question that mattered. "Ethan, back when you studied abroad, who did you like?" He said it was a very stupid girl who lived entirely in her own world and never noticed him.
Apparently I haven't changed much since college.
He had pursued her in sophomore year, then given up because he thought she liked an older student. The older student had been a fan fiction writer I followed for updates. That girl was not me, was it? Ethan said nothing. His face answered everything. I stood in the hospital hallway, stunned so deeply that the world seemed to tilt. Ethan had liked me in college. He had tried to approach me while I was too busy chasing fandom updates to notice a living, breathing man in front of me. You pursued me?
Yes.
When?
Sophomore year.
I tried to explain that the older student was not a romantic rival, only a writer I pestered for chapters. Ethan said he knew now, but by then he had already chosen silence. My eyes stung. He had married me not because any wife would do, but because he heard Reed Group was failing and wanted to help. I am sorry.
You do not need to apologize. I was too cowardly.
Something inside me finally gave way. Ethan, I like you too.
What did you say?
I said I like you too. I have liked you since we got married. He pulled me into his arms so tightly I could feel his breath shake.
You do not know how long I have waited to hear that.
When he asked us not to divorce after the baby was born, I refused just long enough to frighten him. Then I told him why. I wanted a real proposal this time. On the way home, he explained Vivian had only been a business partner and childhood friend.
Next time you have doubts, ask me directly.
For the first time, I said yes without guarding my heart. Happiness arrived so suddenly. Ethan made dinner, brought me fruit.
Because I wanted a daughter like you.
The words were so simple, they melted every wall I had built. Chloe asked about a gala. Ethan said no, then compromised. At the gala, I stood beside him, joking I was his girlfriend.
It should be wife.
I will drink to you both. I wish you happiness.
She cannot drink.
I do not want Ethan to be placed in a difficult position. I answered that my husband and I did not need her concern. What if one day you stopped loving me?
I waited for you for so many years. I will not let go.
That night, he kissed me gently.
I love you.
The next morning, the internet exploded. A headline claimed Ethan cheated during marriage. The photo showed him and Vivian on a balcony, taken from a convincing angle. Only one problem, Ethan had never been on that balcony. I had.
Did you see it?
Yes. I asked if the photo was edited. He said yes. I said I believed him. His silence on the line was warmer than any defense. Came to apologize, insisting she had not arranged the photo. After she left, Zach arrived with worse news. Her assistant took the photo. The coincidence sat badly with me. I told Zach not to burden Ethan with my suspicion.
I do not care what you meant. Stay away from Ava from now on.
By afternoon, surveillance footage was released. The rumor reversed instantly.
Yocher. I will manage you for a lifetime.